Hello. What's up, everybody? It's delusional here, coming at you with another Black Ops 6 gaming commentary video. And in today's episodes, I'm going to be talking about a gun loadout class customization kind of package that I've been messing around with and that I've been really kind of experimenting, investigating to see whether or not it'll actually help me as a very average Call of Duty player and trying to improve myself in this game, because I've talked about in the previous episode that I'm going to be looking a little bit more at how to actually win more gun battles, win more gunfights, and I really wanted to kind of optimize my gun class and, forget about leveling up the weapons for a second and doing anything like that. Just focusing, can I get the best from my gun? And that's what I'm going to do in this episode. So you'll have a look at me in this customization menu, adjusting the PP-919, one of my favorite weapons that I've enjoyed. And I'm going to go through a lot of the different, maybe the few options that I'm kind of experimenting in my iteration called 1.0. So you'll see throughout this, the type of gun sight that I'm going to use. And what I was basically, my main focus in this 1.0 iteration was to optimize the amount of recoil and flinch resistance that I could achieve, to kind of minimize that, because that's something that I struggle with when I use any gun in general. And some of them they just go absolutely crazy. And I was like, okay, well, I want to actually, minimize that factor. If I can put that under my control, that's what I want to do. So you have a look at me right now. I'm adjusting the iron sights and the optics, and I realized that if you go down the list, you get to these kind of crazy multi-zooms, variable scopes, holos, prismatex, 4x, whatever. One of the actual additional features is that the recoil gun kick gets reduced. And I was like, is this actually legit? Is this something that, is somehow new or slept upon? Because I've checked out other videos when I was doing a bit of research into, figuring out what are actually good gun classes, and part of this loadout strategy comes from another YouTuber called It's Nick, so shout out to him in terms of what he kind of likes to use with submachine guns and assault rifles. And I've kind of tweaked just a little bit, and this is one of those tweaks where if you add on, say, one of these variable scopes, yes, you do get that if you want annoying 3x or 7x zoom, which you might be like, how do I play with that on a submachine gun? But it adds this actual recoil kick that I loved. And I was like, that's what I want, in terms of just being able to, to me, it's almost a very good trade-off. And I was curious to see how well that translates. Will that extra zoom be a little bit annoying, or will it be okay in terms of, I can handle that scenario with that, increased recoil control? And you'll see I chuck on the ported compensator, which was a recommendation by It's Nick, the vertical foregrip, that also adds recoil control. I rock the long barrel to kind of help that damage, range in terms of being able to try to take out people as kind of quickly as possible. Not necessarily the bullet velocity, but just increasing that damage factor. And sometimes, I felt like I would run into some situations where I need to pop them off from a bit of a distance. So I thought that was more acceptable. Although, again, this is 1.0, I was really testing whether or not I go with a long barrel or versus something like the twist barrel or something that would just increase the bullet velocity. Because, from what I understand, you can either increase the bullet velocity or you can kind of increase this damage range factor. And they're almost very two similar but also different things in terms of, well, the bullet will get to your target faster, but every bullet that hits that person might not have the same damage done, versus if you go the other way where you increase the damage that each bullet does do to someone, but they don't necessarily reach that person as quicker. So it's like this weird, interesting inverse relationship. Like, can you actually land more bullets on that person, particularly maybe say are they moving around and you can't get them that quickly, versus say they're standing still, would that be better for you to then maybe increase your bullet velocity so you can hit those moving targets? Because if you don't want any bullets missing them, versus, okay, are you actually quite capable in hitting that target? And if so, maybe damage range is more for you. So I went with the long barrel to see what would happen initially. And I think the last one I would have added was the recoil springs, if that was an option for the submachine gun. They're very similar between the AR and the submachine gun classes. There's, I think, a couple tweaks, and even within the submachine gun, some attachments you can't really add on. But generally, the vertical foregrip, those should be constant throughout. The things with that I think I noticed was like the optics might change between AR and submachine gun. So you could still get that recoil, gun control if you go down the list with an AR, but it might not be exactly the same optic as that you can get on a submachine gun. So that was kind of basically figuring that out as I've been going throughout these iterations. So by no means is this like a definitive, this is going to be it kind of class. I'm just experimenting, will this improve my gameplay? And throughout this footage, I go back to Season 2, and I've talked about my general impressions of those maps in a couple of the videos. And I was saying, okay, well, how am I going to do this time around? And, every lobby is different. There's so many factors in control. But right away, right there, I was like, oh, actually, 1 for 1. Good start. Here we go. The PP is working. And these iron sights weren't too bad, even though I just died right there. But the iron sights, I was like, okay, I can roll with this. It isn't too greatly of this zoom. It's not like an ACOG level, but it's somewhere just above that, but to me in a comfortable level. And even that 7-point times zoom, I don't know if I'll ever use that, but it's on there. So I was kind of seeing how many factors can I keep under my control, and will that actually represent any, better gunplay fight with me? Because there are so many variables, so many, the lobby sizes themselves, the lobby players that you get. It can be hard to measure it as a fair test. So take everything with a bit of a grain of salt in that regards. But I do manage in these kind of next 3 gameplays, I go from dealership to bounty to then lifeline, which is the latter being my most favorite map. And I think I get a little bit of that sense, okay, this is actually potentially getting better, maybe not perfect, but it's getting better to what I would love. And I'm also, I'm still figuring things out. And things like gun sensitivity, the vertical sensitivity that I have, I also need to potentially work upon. And someone very kindly commented recently on a YouTube Shorts that I put out that they went, they gave this very nice caveat. Basically, I'm going to get the comment up right now here. At Peaceful Noise 4355, if you're listening. He says, I'm no pro or anything but a 2.5 KD player in this game. That being said, a good player can perform well on any map. Looking at your centering, aim and movement, it's all lacking. Hop on firing range or bot lobby and practice strafing left and right quickly while staying on the dummy. As for any map, it's about reading the minimap to guess with high probability of where opponents will be and where they are going. Use this information to be unpredictable and hit flanks, etc. These 2 core areas will drastically improve you. And that's actually one of the best, if not the most constructive criticisms that I've ever maybe received in my Call of Duty, lifetime experience. And I love that. Thinking more deeply on it, it's kind of just a nice, humble reflection of how lovely this community could be and can be. As for, in regards to some of his comments, I think the centering, aiming, and movement to me are always what, are a good sign of a good Call of Duty player. I again don't think I'm that terrible, and I think I even looked at the clip that I put where he put that comment on. And I was like, I don't know what gave him that indication that I was that terrible. Maybe I'll recheck it. But in general, I think, those are very obvious, but there's a good fundamentals that, maybe I need to tune up a little bit. And sometimes I do notice that I've just been off the mark just a little bit. And I think that does come down to the sensitivity, which another person commented. So he actually didn't mention anything about sensitivity, but he did, this comment came from another video and the commentator was at Berserk Wog 413. Brother, lower your sensitivity and look up controller settings video. Thank me later. So he was more onto the sensitivity, which I think is something that I need to work upon. Whereas something like strafing left or right quickly is actually something that I've never really been into or done. And I don't know if it's something that maybe I should actually invest upon. And I would love to know, does anyone out there actually find strafing to be very useful to win gunfights? Because to me, I don't know, it's almost like another level or degree of complexity that I just didn't think was greatly necessary to kill people. I was doing okay-ish, and I just never developed that skill, and hence why it's probably always lacking. So I don't know, I'm maybe open to it, but I'm also worried that maybe it's such a new habit to form that could be a little bit tricky for me to find. And you can see here 16-7, 2.29 KD. That to me was a good start, particularly on a map like Dealership, which I thought was okay-ish from my first time playing. And here I was like, well, it's okay. I'm not 100% there yet, but 2.29's no joke either. And it felt, still getting used to the new gun, and it wasn't too bad. But yeah, so strafing, is that something that's like a new habit that I definitely should take up on board with? Because I'm not too certain, and if I do find, is it a steep learning curve, but the rewards that you do get is exponentially high, is what I'm very curious about. So do let me know. And then the last part you've talked about is just reading the minimap to guess with high probability, and he puts guess in quotation marks of where they're going to go and how you're going to find them, and what do you want to do to be unpredictable. That to me, I'm like, okay, that's something that probably from the early CODs you just kind of train to do so, and I like to think that I can get to that degree. I remember watching CNANers, and he talked about wanting to actually avoid his own teammates because they most often or not were just, an issue for him. They would just be doing stupid things and would get them killed. And I just want to pause for a second, because right now you can see the differences. This is the XM4 that I'm doing. I'm trying to basically run the same setups, ported compensator, vertical foregrip, and I think I also added on heavy stock, which is something that also again reduces recoil control, but the optics are a little bit different in that regards. So now this is Bounty, and you'll see me again use the PP-919 to try and get used to it, try to get the thing, under my control. So yes, using the minimap, I think it's just inherently built if you're a Call of Duty player, and I always loved having it in the top left corner versus in the bottom left, which I think in Battlefield was just, that's how the UI was. And I don't know, maybe I just got used to COD because it was the first kind of first person shooter that I played. I just enjoyed having it in the top left versus the bottom corner. But CNAN has also spoke, avoiding being around his team too much, because they'd often do silly things that would draw attention, and then he would then be at risk again getting himself killed because they would put themselves in danger. And I do agree with that to an extent. So just being tactical, trying to be away from any idiots that are on your team that just are running around like headless chickens is wise. You want to balance that out, because if you are too far alone and you're away from your team, then there is no safety in numbers, and chances are you're going to be running into a pack of wolves and you're the lone sheep, and that's not that's not what you want at all. So that is like, if you are going to go out on your own, make sure you know how to handle yourself and know how to use those smaller areas where you can take a little bit of, the caution behind, using obstacles for cover, being a bit more tactical of how you approach being so close or, away from home and being in the enemy team base is the only thing that I would actually add to all of that if I had to put an asterisk to see that as kind of train of thoughts. So, yeah. Coming back to the PP-919, I was also realizing that I just prestiged. I was level 6 when I was using this, which is a precarious position because I don't have as many things in terms of the perks wise that I would like to help me, and I thankfully had leveled up the gun. I think I also permanently unlocked it, so a lot of options are available. But if you are kind of strapped, it is tricky, and it's almost like you just have to be a little bit patient, maybe a bit of a grind to get to the necessary levels before you can add on these, to me, almost very key attachments that make the gun better. And one of the things that I definitely was aiming for when I was level 6 is I wanted to get to level 33 to get the perk card, which was so I wanted that double kill right there. The perk card, I think it's called Gunfighter, and it adds 3 extra attachments, which to me, I was like, oh my god, I need this, because I slowly started believing and realizing that your gun is the #1 asset in this game. I know that sounds almost very basic and stupid and dumb. Are you kidding me? How do you not know that after playing so many Call of Duties? But it is like, if you want to use this primarily the whole time. And I know perks are important. I know the lethals are important. The tacticals are all important. But the thing that's going to actually kill people is your gun. And if you don't have complete control of that and you've optimized it to the best, capabilities, that to me is like you're at a disadvantage. So at least, this is my hypothesis, and what I want to really trial and really focus upon in the the next few weeks or so. So I wanted to get this gun humming, basically. I just wanted to have it as close to perfection that I could do so. And I hope to the heavens above that the actual in-game statistics that they do provide about the recoil control, anything to do with, damage range, effective damage range, all those stats, because you can actually press R2 and then you go see all the stats. I'm talking like a very noob here, but if you didn't know that, that's what it's there for. I hope to the heavens above that they're actually legitimate, because that's what I'm going by, and I'm hoping that they're showing all these interesting statistics that I just hope are really true. And if I do, if I'm taking it as gospel, so I hope that if I put on heavy stock, if I put on these gun attachments, that everything will work out as I hope it will be. And I don't know, it's at some point, it's out of my control. I just gotta, I've done the best I can to try to optimize it, and unless someone else knows better, that's maybe where like I have to research other people, other YouTubers, other people on Reddit who've experienced using this gun, and what they recommend is actually better. That's that's where time of use and history and experience with a gun can be a better teacher than just in-game stats. So if that's something that you've come across as, is it a bit of BS or is it actually true? I would also be very curious and love to know, because I did want to get to level 33 and maximize how much recoil can I actually decrease using this gun. And that was a very nice double kill right there in the vents, getting those rats. But I really wanted to actually, double check, can I put on heavy stock plus this to reduce the recoil, because that's what I was really going for. And later on, and I'll put up some more videos, I actually do that. And whether or not it's improved my gunplay, I'm still in the experimental phase. So I think, you know, yeah, I can't comment because I need to have some more data on that to say for certain. I like to think it would be, but you know, the other thing about this is that how, like, you know, that sensitivity of going down from like 6 degrees north, you know, I think that's how they measure recoil, like, or 6 or 7 degrees northwest or north upwards. If you reduce that from 7 to 4 or 7 to 5, I know they say it's like, oh, it's minus 25%. You know, it sounds like a big number, but really you're only going down by what, 3 degrees? Is that actually that much of a difference is what I'm curious about, you know? Because I was going off by the percentages for the first beginning of this and just saying, oh yeah, reduce it by 50%. But, you know, if you're already starting with such a minute scale of 5 to 10 degrees, are you going to notice that difference? You know what I mean? And even like the aim down sights, it's like 300 milliseconds. Do you notice 300 milliseconds versus 250? At what point do you need such a dramatic change to go from 300 to maybe 100 that then actually makes a bit of a difference, is what I'm curious about. So that's another thing where I'm like, you know, maybe I gotta be careful with how much I trust the in-game stats and when to, and those numbers, and actually be a bit smart about it. But at least during these early sessions, I was slowly warming up to the fact that I think I was actually getting a little bit better at this map, even though, you know, we're losing the 107 to 181. You know, I thought I was doing okay-ish, and you can kind of, at some point you gotta, you know, keep things under your control and try to, you know, focus on how you're gonna play the game as well as you can. You know, you might be losing, and, you know, at some point you know that the objective, there's not much in it, then you just gotta focus, alright, let's get some good gunplays, good gunfights, and hopefully that's what I've been kind of demonstrating in this video and showing what I can do. And I think I still use this iron sight now, a week and a half later, probably about 20 games or so later. So you know, I see no reason to go down back to the red dot and lose a bit of that gun kick control, because I just don't want any gun kick. I don't want any run recoil gun kick at all. What do I go? 34 and 25. So a bit of a less KD ratio, but as top at 34 eliminations, get a good score. To me, it's like, hey, I'm getting some runs on the board. And I kind of attribute that to, again, just trying to reduce the flinch resistance, the gun kick control, all of that. And I really actually do prefer just being as precise as I can with that scope. Like, getting into them, if I, you know, even if it does zoom in, if they're running 3 or 4 meters in front of me, I can still kind of pop them off. You know, I don't have to zoom in too greatly. And even if I do, I just aim for that, you know, this gigantic shadow that's covered up whole the screen, that's covered up my whole sight, you know. And here you're looking, I'm also just like now checking, is there any other, you know, attachments for the foregrips that I could use. I don't want any launchers, and the only one that adjusted any of the recoil was, I think, the vertical foregrip. So I was like, well, easy peasy, you know, easy money. What else am I going to do? And for the XM4, I do attach extended mags, which brings it up to 100. And I loved that initially, but I might be thinking it could be a little bit of overkill. I might reconsider just using fast mag, because it is actually crazy. I mean, 85 is really, that's good. I mean, in the 60s, I think potentially optimal, you know, because 100 is just, it's just wild. And right there, I got killed by another guy called Bean in the clan. And I was like, I just realized that wait a minute, there can only be one of us. I'm the beans and he's the bean. But that's a really good spot that he did. Not normally do people actually get that from the low ground up through the stairs. So shout out to him. And right here, like that's what happens when you're on the high ground. You're in that mojo, and I could see that like I was trapping them a little bit with their spawn. Now I know from the mini-map that they should swap the spawns right now. But it doesn't change. So maybe I was wrong. But see, I could see all my teammates were on that side. So I was like, why are they not spawning on that side? Maybe I'm just dumb, or maybe the spawns are a little bit messed up in this game. Especially maybe in Lifeline, because it's so close, so it's a little bit tricky to figure out exactly. But I do like here this spot on Lifeline, because you can hide just tuck away in this corner and just, you want to pick them off. I was very careful. Oh, this guy again, Bean Adnan just got me. Now he's got me twice now. Again, you're just running into your arch enemies, but I do get him there. So I'm kind of careful of these like little. Oh, I just got wrecked. These little staircases that just like felt like I was getting like flanked from the staircases. I think I also try. Yeah, I think so. In this map later on, I try to do the dive to get towards the other side, swimming in the water, going around their back. I saw a pop up on Reddit or maybe YouTube Shorts, and I was like, oh man, this is a sick little route to get to sneak around behind the back, and you've only got like 2.5 seconds to nail it, and you watch me just struggle to do so. So it will be just down to the right there. I'll get back to it later on. But man, kill confirmed on this is... I mean, this is just like wild. This is very fast paced. I remember like... It's tough to get it into a bit of rhythm on this map. Yeah. I was definitely making sure not to get pwned in this little area here because... Oh! And I speak too soon. I think at some point you're almost like, are you better playing with the shotgun? Because of just the tight areas, you know. And I think right there was my first inkling that, oh yeah, I could go around the side to the right and see if I can get it. Yeah, maybe I need to lower my sensitivity a little bit. Just watching, sometimes I'm like darting around a little bit, just too far to the left or right, and just missing him. But see here, like, he's 3 meters in front of me. That's not too bad, you know, like even with the iron sight. Oh, I think I'm gonna try and get this guy at the back here. I remember this guy. He was sniping from behind the boat, and that's where I think having that scope is not actually a decent level, but just for those moments where you can only see their head from behind something in the background. You're like, alright, I need to just kind of pop you. And right here, I'm just trying to hold down this top half. While, you know, it's a bit funny because they're always going to spawn on one side or the other side of the boat. Just trying to be aware of where should I kind of maintain my area of focus and kind of wait for them to come in or not. And here, this is where I'm going to attempt to do the first dive. So you get like 2.5. And I thought I almost had it there. And I was like, ah! Well, what I knew you had to do, you had to actually sprint. And for whatever reason, I would press down on the L3. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't work. And at this point, this is just a gambler's fallacy. I just was like, no, I'm not coming back to the game until I do this. Which is, you don't want to do this, you know, but I never done it. I just wanted to like accomplish it. It was the first time kind of trying it. And I was so like, this is the 4th time? Oh my god, what am I doing? I think I was like, okay, let's go back. Oh yeah, after I kill this guy, I'm like, this is it. This is it. No. Go, 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 go. Here we go. Yeah! But then there's no one there. It's like, I could have been killing people. Like, we're behind like 6 or 7 kills, and I've just been messing around trying to jump across this boat. Go for the headshot there because, well, if he's ever AFK, might as well get the headshot for the camera. 2 in 1. And it's actually so tight right now. I'm realizing there's 10 seconds. I'm gonna lock in. We're down like 1. Now we tied it up. Get this guy. Whoa, 68 to 67. That is actually crazy. I remember losing. I was like, I went from messing around on the boat, trying to dive, and then like just that last 15, 30 seconds, I just, alright, lock in, lock in, lock in. And that was the final kill. Actually insane. Thinking about those last 3 kills, I mean, that is actually, I can't believe it. But yeah, there you go. I think that game to me was also cementing, okay, this could be a future class to continue rocking with. Maybe some touch-ups, but definitely a very fun class that I would love to use. And oh man, those last 3 kills were actually kind of amazing. So, alright. I've done enough talking. Hopefully that's been somewhat educational and entertaining at the same time. But do let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of those kind of attachments on the class? Do you like trying to go for the recoil, gun control, and maybe even using those strange optic sights to help you do so? Is there anything else that you'd recommend that I should try with the gun, on top of maybe any other suggestions like gun sensitivity, whatever? I'd love to know down in the comments down below. Alright, that's it for me, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!